If you're tired of feeling like you're begging for business, this will change everything. So here's what happened to me. I was doing everything right. Perfect pitches, detailed proposals, following up religiously, but I was still getting ghosted left and right. Sound familiar? Then I had this crazy realization. I wasn't selling wrong, I was just selling backwards. You see, most people think selling is about convincing. You talk faster, you explain more, you justify your price, but that's exactly why you're losing deals. Here's the thing nobody tells you. Selling isn't about talking, it's about leading someone's thinking instead. And the moment I stopped trying to convince people and started to influence how they think, everything changed. My close rate went from 20% to 80% in just 3 months. And in this video, I want to share some things with you that will help you to start influencing and stop trying to convince people. Now, why should you even listen to me? My name's Jason James. Over the last decade, I've taken what I used to do in psychiatric nursing and applied it right here into sales. That has allowed me to personally generate over 22 million in sales, and my clients have gone on to generate over 200 million doing exactly what I teach inside of my Invisible Sales Academy. And I want to share some of that stuff with you right now. You see, because in psychiatric nursing, a lot of the techniques that we use in high pressure situations, when you've got a violent patient or you've got somebody who's really unwell, hearing voices or self-harming or whatever, you've got to get in quick and you've got to learn how to influence them through conversations. It's what we call conversational change. And in fact, the techniques that I used to use back then were the techniques that high-level negotiators in secret services use to get people to give up hostages, etc., etc., etc. And it's some deep, powerful stuff. And that's why I've brought it into sales. And I'm the only psychiatric nurse in the world turned sales professional who's brought this stuff to our beautiful industry of sales. And I want to share this stuff with you. So if you haven't done so already, hit like, hit subscribe, because I'm going to be putting out way more of this stuff because I want to get this message out to the world. So let's talk about human influence and how we can do that. Well, the first thing is, in order for you to influence other people, you need to know what influences you. Now, what does that mean? Think about it. How do you get influenced? How do you do something? How do you even say yes? How do you buy? All of these things are stuff that I actually work with my clients on before we even go back into the sales environment, because if we don't, it's going to show up. So here's the quick fix for you if you're watching this video right now and want a quick fix. How do you look at yourself when it comes to selling? Now, you might go, but I love selling, Jess. No, I love it. I love it. I love it. Well, let me ask you a question. Are there any demons going on in your world right now that you might be bringing into the sales environment? Do you sometimes feel like you're not good enough? Do you sometimes feel that your self-worth is on the floor? Do you sometimes feel that maybe people will call you out one day because you're having imposter syndrome? Like, are you going through some financial distress right now? Are you struggling with money in your own account? Do you think the product that you're selling is actually quite expensive and you don't even have the funds to afford it right now? Like, what, all of this stuff will pop up in your sales call, whether you like it or not. So you've got to look at yourself and figure out, hey, what are these things that are going on in my world that are actually projecting into my sales environment? Because that, unfortunately, is negatively influencing the prospecting. In fact, it's pushing them away. Now, look, we also, once we've done all of that stuff, we need to figure out, okay, well, what influences other humans? Because if it influences me, perhaps it's influencing other people. Now, every human being will have some part of their life where there's a void going on. That's why they jump on a sales call. Now, what do I mean by a void? I basically mean a problem. There's some empty space that needs filling up. They're struggling with sales, they're struggling with their mindset, they're struggling with their mood. Whatever the problem is that they came on, there's an empty space there and they need you to go and fill that. Now, depending on how bad that empty space is, and depending on how high up the value hierarchy is for that person, as in level of importance, will dictate whether they go and do it or not, change their life, spend money with you, whatever it is, okay? So if this void hurts enough and it's a big enough gap and it's higher up in their value hierarchy, they're more likely to do it. For example, if right this very moment, money is a problem for someone, would you agree, whenever you've had money problems, money becomes a high priority for you in your value ladder, okay? It's there. It's a big priority for you. The minute you make more money and it's no longer a problem, where does it drop in your hierarchy? Down. It drops down the hierarchy, which basically means it's not as important anymore. And when does it come back up again? It comes back up again when you've dropped on money again, when your money's low. And it's like a yo-yo, right? A lot of people do this, right? So salespeople do this all the time. It's like when they're smashing it, they're like, yeah, man, I'm the shit, da 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 da. And then the minute sales dip, they go, oh my God, I've got to take it seriously again. But just imagine this. Imagine if you acted every single day like you were broke. What if every single day money was high up on your value hierarchy? What would happen? You'd always be crushing it. So what I'm trying to say to you is that's a very common one. If a prospect comes to you because they need money, their sales are down or they're not making enough money or whatever it is, it should be hurting enough to the point where it's high up on their value hierarchy. If it's not high up on their value hierarchy, it's very unlikely that they're going to invest today to do something about it. So why are you having that conversation? Now, in that situation, you've got two options. You can get off the call and disengage with the meeting because it's not important enough for them to solve, or you could do what I do, which is help influence their thinking instead of just taking what they say as gospel. I start using powerful questions, which you don't need a script for, to help unlock that problem and bring it up higher up in their value hierarchy. It's what we call conversational change. And by having some conversational change with this person, I'm changing their perspective of that problem and I'm bringing it higher up on their value hierarchy. The higher up I bring it on their value hierarchy, the more likely they are to do something about it. I want the prospect to realize that actually that's a real problem and it needs solving yesterday, not now. It needed to be solved yesterday, but now's the next best day. Make sense? Now, when you start doing stuff like this, you start to figure out that actually, if I can get a prospect's problem to be higher up in their value hierarchy, I'm already winning. I'm already winning. And it doesn't matter if you're more expensive than other people, because when people see a solution that solves a problem real quick, that is hurting enough, they will pay through the nose for it. It doesn't matter how much it is, okay? It's a bit like when gas prices were going mad because there was a shortage of gas. There were still queues outside the gas stations, loads of people waiting to queue up to pay for overpriced fuel. Why were they doing that? It's because if they didn't have the fuel, they couldn't get to work, they couldn't take their children to school, they couldn't go to the grocery store. There's so many things that they couldn't do if they didn't have the fuel. So I don't care how much it is, it hurts enough, it's high up my value hierarchy to get it solved, right? So I'm trying to say to you, my friends, the best thing that you can do right now is also start to push stuff up a prospect's value hierarchy, okay? That's one of the ways that you can start influencing somebody's thinking. The other thing you can do is start to shift the prospect's focus. You see, right now, every person that you're speaking to, whether you like it or not, is running their own pattern in their mind. They've got a way of doing things. Now, for you to get their focus, you need to interrupt their pattern. So let's talk about sales conversations because that's why we're all here, right? When a prospect jumps onto a sales call, they have a pattern that they're running on how they like to buy. That's how they like to buy. That's their normal baseline, okay? Everyone's different. Everyone's got their own unique ones. There's similarities in lots of them, but everyone's got their own unique way of buying, okay? So they've got their way of buying. Now, a lot of prospects are getting onto a call, and for many of them, their normal way of buying is to think about it. That's their normal pattern. Their normal pattern is to think about it. And the reason why they're running that pattern is because most of the time they actually delay on making decisions, and most people are poor at making decisions, so they like to think about stuff, okay? But meanwhile, their problem's getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. So in order for you to get them to focus on your agenda, which is to help them to buy today, you've got to break that current pattern. And the way you break that current pattern is by acknowledging that most people like to think about it, and then explaining why that's not always the best thing to do. And now in sales, if you've been doing it for long enough, you'll understand what I'm about to say. If you're not, then this will massively help you. You often look at the opportunity cost of them standing still right now, because often people think that if they, if they do nothing, nothing happens. It's not true. If they do nothing, things get worse. Think about it. Just like my patients used to be in psychiatric nursing, if they didn't get treatment, if they didn't do something about their problem today, it wasn't going to stay the same, it was going to get worse. And it's a bit like your prospect. If they've got a problem, if they're sick, if there's something going on in their world, then that needs treatment, it ain't going to go away today. They need to do something about it today. So helping them see that the problem's actually going to get worse if they delay the decision starts to rattle that current pattern that they've got, okay? Also helping them see the opportunity cost in terms of money. So for example, a lot of my clients, when they come through the pipeline, if they've got this I need to think about it mentality, and we've just spent a lot of time exploring that actually every single lead that's coming through your door, you could be closing another 3 or 4 of them when you're only closing 1 or 2 at the moment. And each of those clients are worth $1,000 to you. Every single person that comes through, every single 3 people that come through that you close, again, is an extra $3,000 for you. The intrinsic value of that over the next X amount of months is 36,000 or whatever it is. Suddenly we're going like, why are you waiting to leave money on the table? So do you see what I'm going? So we start to rattle. If we can rattle their current pattern, then they start focusing on what you're saying. You're derailing them away from what they normally do. Because when you derail people from what they normally do, they start to pay attention, okay? It's a bit like, I don't know, let's say you're walking down the street and you're not even paying attention to what's going on. You're just walking down the street. And all of a sudden, out of nowhere, you step on something that feels uneven. What does it do? What does it do to your attention and your focus? You ever done that? Have you ever been walking down the sidewalk or down the pavement? Have you been walking down and suddenly you step on an uneven brick or an uneven... What does it do to your focus? What do? You look, right? You look, oh gosh, I nearly fell down. Oh, God. It interrupts your pattern. When you interrupt someone's pattern, you create focus. Now I'm focusing on what the hell's going on down there because I nearly fell down. I'm not running my normal pattern of just walking down a road, just chilling out, unconsciously taking steps because I'm not paying attention to my steps because that's what we do. Do you see what I'm doing with this? So going with this? So when your prospect comes in with their underlying pattern of how they buy, which is I need to think about it. I never commit on the first call. No. You've got to rattle it. And when you rattle it, you create focus. That focus comes onto you and how you think they should be doing things instead. But you've got to rattle their perspective instead. Is this making sense? Okay. Now look, I've got so many more of these tips, but just try doing that. Try figuring out what influences you, what is actually going on in your world that you might be projecting into your sales environment right now. Have a think about other people. What voids are in their life right now? How can you make that problem higher up on their value hierarchy? And then how can you rattle their current patterns, the things that they do on a daily basis, to interrupt them so that they create focus on you and your way of doing things so that they go and do something different today. Is this making sense? The more you do this, my friends, the more deals you will close. The more deals you will close, the more money will be in your bank. And the more money in your bank, the happier you'll be. Let's be perfectly blunt and honest. Okay, so look, whether you're running a sales team or whether you're doing this on your own, I'd love to help you. I'd love to invite you to join my Invisible Sales Academy. Now, we have multiple ways to work with people. Individuals, I only take a couple on a month. Companies, we've got space for you guys. We've got different programs that we can help you with. But look, ultimately, all of this starts with an initial conversation. And the reason I'm saying this is this isn't a book a call and then we pitch to you. No, this is a fact-finding conversation, just a quick chat to figure out where you are right now, where you want to be, whether we're the right fit for you, all that kind of jazz. We need to know more. And there's no hardcore selling on this call because let's be perfectly blunt and honest. I don't want to be that person who shoehorns you into a product or service. For some of you, you might only have a few $1,000s of a budget. For some of you, you've got way more. I don't know where you're at in your life, okay? What I want to know is what's your actual problem? Whether we've got a solution we prescribe for it, let's make it bespoke rather than trying to shove you into a cookie cutter program, and let's help you. And that's why I love conversations, and conversations cost nothing in my industry. In my industry, we're not like everyone else. We like to talk to people. We want to make you feel understood. We want to help you, but at the same time, we know that's not going to happen via email or text. So if you're interested, comment the word invisible down below and I will personally reach out so that I can schedule a call with either myself or one of my executive team to help you figure out where you're at right now, where you want to be. And at the end of that, there's nothing to buy. It's just a conversation, okay? Then we can look at the next logical steps after that, all right? So either comment the word invisible down below or there may be a link in the description that you can click on to get yourself into the application form to apply for a quick conversation with us. Of course, I can't help everyone, which is why there's an application. That's not to kind of say, oh, you must apply to work with me. No. It's true. There's only certain criteria that needs to be met to get help from me, but there's also people that I can't help. So if you don't have any products to sell right now, if you're not even talking to prospects, I'm not your guy because you're not going to get the benefit from working with me. Is this making sense? Okay, so that's what I want to do. I want to work with people who are already speaking to people who are already closing. They want to get better at closing, or they've got a team that they want to get better at closing. Let me work with you. Okay, we don't use scripts. All we're doing is having conversation with people. We understand our own behavior. We understand human behavior. We then look at your pitch and go, right, how can we reconstruct your pitch so that we can make it link to the prospect's actual problems in real time so that you get better close rates? Make sense? It's beautiful. It works like magic. My clients are getting results within 24 hours of working with me. So I want you to get some of this stuff too. It's gold. Nobody else has this information. It's top secret, which I only share with people like yourselves who go at the extra mile to invest in themselves. So if that's you, comment invisible down below or hit the link that's in the description and let's get you going. Now, if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit subscribe, hit like, hit that notification bell so that this stuff goes everywhere on the internet. I want more people to see this stuff, and they should. Why? Because there's no psychiatric nurse in the world that's sharing this information, and I want to make sales great again. And look, that's why I'm trying to build up this channel. So by you helping me, whether you work with me or not, that'll be a big blessing, and I'll be very, very grateful. Okay, so until the next video, wish you all the wealth, health, success, and happiness that you truly, truly deserve.